Hello and welcome to my quiz. I'm Eric and this is my quiz of 2023, and what I've done is I've gone around the web and had a look for all the interesting news stories from the year. One question for each month, and as you can see from these pictures that relate to the questions, I really like history, geography and natural history. And of course, my head is full of empty space. So the deal is you get 12 questions, write down your answers, and I'll go through them at the end. And they're all multi choice questions, just to make it a bit easier, because you may not have seen some of these news stories. So let's go into January. So, January, after decades on the run, the most wanted mafia boss in Italy, Matteo Messina Denaro, was finally arrested on January the 16th. How long had he been on the run? And there's a picture of him. Was it A, 20 years, B, 30 years, or C, 40 years? It was a long time. And February. Of course, you can always pause the questions if you need a bit longer to think of them, or rewind it to go back to a question if you want. I really won't mind because I'll be recording. So, February, on the 27th, a new post-Brexit deal for Northern Ireland was announced by UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and President of the European Commission Ursula von der Leyen. What was it called? Was it A, the Berkshire Framework, B, the Area Northern Ireland Protocol, or C, the Windsor Framework? That picture came from the Gospel Globe. Okay, March. On the 1st, social media site TikTok announced a daily screen time limit for users under 18, though with an opt-out clause, in response to concerns about its addictive and harmful algorithms. How long is the time limit? Is it A, 30 minutes, B, 45 minutes, or C, 60 minutes? And April. On the 2nd, footage of the deepest living fish ever recorded was released. It was caught on camera at a depth of 8,336 metres in the Izu Ogasawara Trench south of Japan. What is it called? Is it A, a slugfish, B, a snailfish, or C, a wormfish? And May. On the 6th, the King, Charles III, ascended to the throne, perched on an ancient chair, sparking many lively street celebrations. However, back in 1296, King Edward I of England took possession of a significant piece of sandstone from Scone Abbey in Perthshire, known as the Stone of Scone, also dubbed the Stone of Destiny. This revered stone had served as the royal seat for Scottish monarchs across generations during their coronations. Edward transported the stone to England and commissioned the creation of the coronation chair specifically to house it. Notably, this chair stands as the oldest documented piece of English furniture crafted by a known artisan. The stone was eventually returned to Scotland, but can you recall the year it was reinstated? And there's the Stone of Scone right there. So into June. On June the 14th, phosphorus was discovered on a moon of Saturn. It was the last of the essential building blocks of life found there. Others are carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen and sulfur, raising the possibility of extraterrestrial life. But which moon of Saturn was it? And it's pictured there. Is it A, Enceladus, B, Mimas, or C, Titan? And to July. On the 23rd of July, a 2,000-year-old stone slab used to grind spices was unearthed in Ok Ao, South Vietnam. It is the earliest evidence of curry in Southeast Asia. A new analysis of plant micromoraines recovered from the surfaces of the grinding stone tools from the archaeological site has identified culinary spices that include turmeric, ginger, fingerroot, sand ginger, galangal, clove, nutmeg, and cinnamon. The team noted the odour of which of these spices was still the most pungent. Was it A. cinnamon, B. galangal, or C. nutmeg? As you can probably guess, I'd never heard of fingerroot or sand ginger or galangal. So every day is a school day, and into August. In this month, Spain won the Women's World Cup, beating England 1-0. Which team did Spain beat to reach the final? I'll give you a hint. They were wearing yellow. Was it A. Australia, B. Colombia, or C. Sweden? And into September. In this month, a famous painting, the Parsonage Garden at Nieuwenan in spring 1884, stolen from a Dutch museum, is returned in an IKEA bag to an art detective. Which famous artist produced the painting? Was A. Paul Gauguin, B. Vincent van Gogh, or C. Edvard Munch? And into October, on the 11th of this month, wild beavers were reintroduced to London from Scotland after being absent from the city for 400 years. Into which borough were they introduced? And there they are, they're looking very happy and pleased with themselves and very delightful. So was it A. Ealing, B. Eltham, or C. Epping? I'll give you a hint, the answer begins with E. And into November. On the 2nd of this month, a storm battered northern Europe and southern England with hurricane force winds, leaving 1.2 million in France without power. What was its name? Was it A. Caleb, B. Calvin, or C. Kieran? And into December, on the 4th, it was reported that a Welsh couple's garden ornament turned out to be an unexploded bomb. It had been outside the home of Shan and Geoffrey Edwards and is thought to be an old naval shell dating from the late 19th century. After it was detonated by the bomb disposal team, they said it was like the passing of an old friend. In which county of Wales was it found? Was it A. Flintshire, B. Monmouthshire, or C. Pembrokeshire? Okay, hopefully you're ready for some answers. Of course, you can always rewind to have any questions back. Excuse me. So January, the mafia boss, how long had he been on the run? It was B, 30 years. And into February, the post-Brexit deal, what was it called? It was called C, the Windsor Framework. And March, how long's the TikTok time limit? It is C, 60 minutes. And April, deepest living fish, what's it called? It's called B, snailfish. That was the answer I was looking for. And into May, so when was the Stone of Scone returned to Scotland? It was C, 1996. Interestingly, the Scots gave it back to the English for the coronation. So King Charles was actually crowned with the Stone of Scone installed back in the seat, and after the coronation it was returned back to Scotland. Interesting stuff. So June, phosphorus discovered on the moon of Saturn. Which moon of Saturn? It was A, Enceladus. And into July, on the 23rd of July, the curry remnants were found. Which of them was the most pungent? It's an easy one if you know your spices. It was C, nutmeg, pungent stuff. And into August, Spain won the Women's World Cup, beating England. But who did they beat together? It was, of course, Sweden. There they are. They did very well. I watched a little bit of every match, watching the highlights. So, September. Who was the famous artist that produced the stolen painting? It was B. Vincent van Gogh. And into October, beavers introduced back into which London borough? It was A. Ealing. Get €5 in beavers at Paradise Fields in Ealing, bringing beavers back to West London for the first time in 400 years. Now into November. The November storm. What was it called? It was called C. Kieran. Finally, into December. Welsh Couples Garden Ornaments. Where was it found? In which county of Wales? It was C. Pembrokeshire. And that sound signifies the end of the quiz. So